Greetings. I am Professor Mohammed Shabir, an expert in the English language. My years of studying and teaching this fascinating language have given me a deep appreciation for its rich history and the diverse influences that have shaped it. Now let's embark on a journey back in time to the origins of English. The roots of English trace back to the Anglo-Saxon period over 1,000 years ago. This language, known as Old English, was spoken by the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, tribes from what is now Germany and Denmark. Old English was a complex language full of rich sounds and intricate grammar. It was a far cry from the English we know today, but it laid the foundation for the language's evolution. From Beowulf to the Exeter Book, Old English gave us some of the earliest and most treasured literature in the English canon. This brings us to the end of the first phase of English history, setting the stage for its evolution into Middle English. Now we move to the second phase in the history of English language, the Middle English period. This era, between the 11th and 15th centuries, was marked by sweeping transformations. One of the most significant changes was the influence of Norman French and Latin on the English language following the Norman conquest of 1066. The English vocabulary was enriched as words from these languages were adopted and integrated. In addition to linguistic changes, this period also saw a flourishing of literature. One of the most notable works from this era is Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. Written in the late 14th century, this collection of stories provides a fascinating glimpse into the language and culture of Middle English. The Middle English period was a time of considerable linguistic evolution, with profound changes in vocabulary, syntax, and pronunciation. This period of great change paved the way for the development of modern English. Next, we explore the birth of modern English, the form of the language we are most familiar with today. The transition from Middle to Modern English wasn't an overnight flip of the switch. It was a gradual process influenced heavily by the Renaissance, a period of renewed interest in the arts, science, and humanism. The Renaissance brought with it an influx of Latin and Greek words, enriching the English vocabulary. But the real game changer was the invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg in the 15th century. This innovation standardized English spelling and grammar, making the language more accessible and uniform. And let's not forget the contributions of the bard himself, William Shakespeare. Through his works, he introduced thousands of words and phrases to the English language, many of which we still use today. His influence is a testament to the ever-evolving nature of language. And thus, modern English as we know it was born. Finally, we turn our attention to English in the contemporary world. The spread of English globally can be attributed to two main factors: colonization and globalization. It was during the British colonial era that English first took root in various parts of the world. Following decolonization, English remained and flourished, adapting and evolving with each culture it touched. In the era of globalization, English has further solidified its position, becoming the language of international communication. Whether it's in business, where deals are sealed with a handshake and an English agreement, in science, where discoveries are shared through English publications, or in entertainment, where English movies and music have a wide-reaching influence, English is omnipresent. Its role as a global lingua franca has made English not just a language, but a bridge, connecting people from different corners of the world. English has truly become a global language, connecting people from different corners of the world. To sum up our journey through the history of English, we began by exploring its humble origins, steeped in the tongues of the Anglo-Saxons. This period saw the birth of what we now recognize as Old English, a language rich with Germanic roots. We then traced the evolution into Middle English, a phase marked by the influence of Norman French, a language which left an indelible mark on the English vocabulary. The next leap brought us to the birth of Modern English, a period defined by the Great Vowel Shift and the standardization of spelling and grammar. In the contemporary world, English has emerged as a global lingua franca, spoken by billions and influencing cultures, economies, and societies on a global scale. Understanding the history of English helps us appreciate its evolution and importance in our world today. Thank you for joining me on this linguistic journey.